挨拶は大事。すごい美人だ。さすが進学校。ビバ。なんか悪いことしたかな。
An average boy befriends the most popular girl in the whole school, but she suffers from social anxiety. Hello, and welcome to back our channel iSky. Today we are going to do a recap of the anime series called Komi-sen wa Kamiyoshu Desu. The anime is about Hirohito Tadano, who is an ordinary boy who heads into his first day of high school with a clear plan to avoid trouble and do his best to blend in with others. Unfortunately, he fails right away when he takes the seat beside the school's Madonna, Shouko Komi. His peers now recognize him as someone to eliminate for a chance to sit next to the most beautiful girl in class. Ep 1 at Itten Private High School. Incoming student Tadano Hirohito expresses his desire to remain normal and blend in without attracting attention at his new school. He attempts to greet his locker neighbor, but upon realizing her beauty, he is suddenly at a loss for words. She remains silent and does not respond to his greeting, instead glaring at him before walking away without saying a word and leaving him intimidated. Tadano expresses confusion at the situation, but he fails to notice that the girl, who he learns is named Komi, was simply startled by the encounter and had visible trouble communicating with him. Tadano Hirohito thinks about the beautiful yet peculiar girl he encountered at the shoe locker, but figures he'd have nothing to do with her at school. He sits at his desk while happily looking forward to a peaceful school life, but realizes he is seated next to the mysterious Komi, attracting unfortunate jealousy and attention towards him. The teacher announces to her students that they should begin self-introductions, which start awkwardly with a girl named Agari whose nervousness causes her to accidentally raise her voice. The mysterious Komi introduces herself next by silently standing, walking up to the chalkboard, and writing her full name, Komi Shouko. The class excitedly blushes and cheers as she returns to her seat, though Tadano is perplexed over her action. Tadano awkwardly gives his introduction next and names his specialty as
消しゴム落とす。何この人。
reading the room. However, after noticing the resentful reactions from his classmates, he realizes he would be unable to enjoy the normal school life he was hoping for. As the teacher reminds her students what is needed for the next school day, Komi Shouko rummages through her pencil box and unknowingly drops an eraser on the floor near Tadano Hirohito. Tadano picks it up and tries to return it to her, but his hand is nearly pierced by a compass thrown by the ninja-dressed student sitting behind him. He becomes increasingly suspicious that being associated with Komi may be dangerous for him and quickly returns the eraser, pretending not to see Komi when he notices her quivering. Soon, Tadano accidentally becomes alone with Komi, who almost runs away when he talks to her, causing him to realize she actually suffers from severe social anxiety. As she cannot talk to people, Tadano suggests she write on the chalkboard, and she is able to communicate that she wants to speak normally but is unable to because of said anxiety. She apologizes for wasting Tadano's time and tries to leave, only for Tadano to write his own message on the board for her, allowing her to have her first real conversation with a friend. She reveals her dream is to make 100 friends, and Tadano, now becoming her first one, promises to help find the other 99. The next morning, Tadano realizes the entrance exam for their school was a personality interview, meaning the school is full of oddballs, weirdos, loners, and heathens. As such, finding 99 friends for Komi will be even harder than he thought. Ep 2, in class, Tadano Hirohito wonders how he could help Komi Shouko and eventually decides to go around asking his classmates if they would like to become friends with her. He approaches a friendly group of girls and has his first interaction with Yamai Ren, whom he decides to ask to befriend Komi. However, at the mention of Komi's name, Yamai immediately loses her friendly demeanor and makes it harshly clear to Tadano that she does not appreciate his method of addressing the admirable Komi, or even his presence. Stunned by this drastic gesture, Tadano decides not to continue talking to Yamai, and she in turn tells him to never speak to her again, reverting back to her external picture of sweetness. After his disastrous encounter with Yamai Rin, Tadano Hirohito fails to make friendly contact with other classmates and realizes his lack of good standing in the class. Feeling completely useless as a first friend for Komi Shouko, Tadano knocks his head on the desk in despair, which surprises Komi. Undaunted, Tadano reluctantly attempts his last course of action, introducing Komi to his childhood friend, Asana Najimi. Tadano goes to talk to Najimi alone, but Komi surprises him by coming along. When he approaches Najimi, Tadano is startled to see his friend wearing a skirt, as they had maintained a male appearance in middle school. Tadano questions this, and Najimi asserts that she had always been a girl. Tadano notes that Najimi is known for being inconsistent and unknown, and, furthermore, is a very socially adept person. Najimi claims that every person in the school is their childhood friend, shocking Komi. When Tadano tells Najimi that he has a request, Najimi responds with an inappropriate joke. After Tadano tensely explains to Komi that Najimi was joking, he tells her to request for Najimi to be her friend as they had practiced earlier. Komi attempts to speak but ends up stuttering in a jarring manner. While Tadano notes improvement, Najimi is freaked out. Tadano asks directly for Najimi to become Komi's friend, but Najimi replies that it is impossible, much to Tadano and Komi's astonishment. After Komi Shouko is left petrified by Asana Najimi's rejection, Tadano Hirohito pulls Najimi into the hallway to talk in private and demands an explanation. Najimi explains that they met Komi in their second year of elementary school. However, despite Najimi's efforts, Komi never said a word back, which shocked Najimi to the point of being bedridden for a week. Najimi continues on to say that Komi's presence still made them tremble, but Tadano tells them that they are wrong about Komi and encourages them to give her a chance. Upon hearing Tadano's insistence, Najimi asks if he likes Komi, but Tadano replies that she is out of his league. Najimi agrees to give befriend Komi another attempt on the condition that Tadano calls Najimi by their given name because it reminded them of the time Tadano wrote love in huge letters in the school courtyard to express his feelings to a girl. Tadano, still hugely embarrassed by the incident, expresses that this was why he was reluctant to involve Najimi in the first place. Sometime later, Najimi begins eating lunch with Tadano and Komi, making Tadano even more unpopular. Tadano explains Komi's desire for friends, so Najimi sends Komi to get a complicated coffee order by herself, claiming it is training to force Komi to speak. Despite several attempts, Komi gets the wrong coffee and cries, forcing Tadano and Najimi to apologize, though they both consider Komi's sulking cute. Ep 3, in the Itten High School library, a socially introverted student, Agari Himiko, is being watched by Komi. Agari greatly admires Komi, but has low self-esteem and cannot imagine why Komi would be staring at someone like her. Agari escapes to the bathroom so she can be alone in her personal space. Agari thinks about staying in the toilet forever when she realizes that Komi is standing outside her stall, who wants to ask Agari if she's okay. Agari prays to various deities to not be bullied. Komi leaves, realizing that it's rude to stand outside stalls, much to Agari's relief. As Agari leaves the toilet, she is intercepted by a teacher, who asks her to tell the class that the gym period has moved location. Agari tries to refuse, as she's nervous about speaking in front of lots of people, but as Komi approaches, Agari hastily accepts in order to escape. She practices the instruction, but somehow can only say "pa" to the class. Annoyed at herself and embarrassed, wanting to disappear, she sees Komi moving towards her and, terrified, perfectly recites the instruction to the class. Agari escapes again, overjoyed that she could speak so well. 20 minutes earlier, from Komi's perspective, Najimi compiled a list of all her friends from Itten High School so that Komi can make another friend with a similar personality to her. Najimi explains that Agari is the most like Komi, sweet, but weak against the stress of interpersonal relationships. Additionally, when someone merely looks at her she blushes, gets convulsions, hyperventilates, becomes inarticulate, gets cold sweat and stomach pains. Komi deeply relates to Agari and follows her to the library, but is unable to speak to her when Agari misinterpreted Komi's staring. In the present, Tadano assures Komi that she'll get another chance to talk to Agari. As if on cue, Agari appears and explains that Komi looking at her made her afraid, but because of that she was able to speak in front of the whole class, which she is thankful for. Tadano suggests they become friends, but Agari hastily proclaims that she isn't worthy, but she is able to accept being Komi's dog, despite the demeaning position. Komi buys her first phone and is determined to ask everyone for their numbers. She manages to get Najimi's number, but Agari's lapdog routine puts her off from asking. Asking for Tadano's number is even more awkward when Agari accidentally ruins the moment. Komi is elected class president against her will. Sensing her reluctance, Najimi instead has Komi voted class goddess, while the more difficult role of president goes to Tadano with Najimi as vice president. Komi accidentally calls Tadano, leading to her awkward first phone call, which both she and Tadano are proud of achieving. Komi is intrigued by the games played by popular students, so Najimi invites her to join. However, everyone lets Komi win due to her popularity. Tadano sabotages the second game to spare Komi an embarrassing moment, adding to his unpopularity, but he is happy when Komi thanks him for helping her have fun. Ep 4, during physical exams, Yadano Makaru, who hates to lose, is determined to beat Komi. Komi wins by having better eyesight, being taller, and weighing less. Tadano decides a physical exam proves nothing and insists the exam is a draw. Tadano's scores were completely average on the exam. Yamai, a popular girl, is obsessed with Komi and forces Najimi to introduce them. Tadano wakes up in Yamai's bedroom, Yamai having kidnapped him to keep him away from Komi. Najimi asks if she and Komi can visit Yamai's house, and she agrees. Najimi finds Tadano in a closet, forcing Yamai to reveal her belief she would make a better friend than Tadano. She is shocked when Komi rejects her in favor of Tadano. Komi blames herself for what happened and asks if Tadano will still be her friend, even speaking out loud to him. Najimi brings Yamai to give a confusing apology for her actions. Komi decides Yamai can know about her social anxiety. Yamai is shocked to learn the truth but decides being unable to speak just makes Komi even cuter and will help her find 100 friends. After a brief hesitation, Komi decides Yamai can be her friend too. And that's all for today, guys. If you liked the recap and want more summaries like this, consider subscribing to our channel.